Welcome back, everyone. Today we've got a video that's different than anything we've done so far. Today I'm having a conversation with my good friend Todd Woodhouse. We met in Peru and he's currently on a trip around the US on his 125 Honda monkey bike. He's got some great stories to tell and I hope you enjoy them. And then you'll pop in and out, I'm sure, throughout the conversation. But yeah, so why don't you go ahead and just say what this trip is.
So this is the Trans-American Trail. It starts in Ripley, West Virginia, and it continues around the country through Virginia, Tennessee, Mississippi, Arkansas, Oklahoma, New Mexico, Colorado, Idaho, Wyoming, South Dakota, and finally ending at Minnesota, in the eastern part of Minnesota. And it's about 240 miles from where I live. So then head back at the end. Yeah.
And then it's all trails, right? It's like mostly trails. It's where it can be.
Yeah. It's as much trails as it can be, and then there's tarmac linking all the trails together.
Okay, sweet.
All the dirt.
And then you've been on the road now for how long did you say?
I left July 10th, and it's August 7th. So I've been on the road for a while, almost a month. And then 7 days to get to the start from Minneapolis.
Okay, sweet. And then, so how far are you on the trail so far? How much is completed out of the whole?
1,000 and change.
So far, 1,000.
Yeah.
And then how much is the whole trail altogether?
I think it's about 5,000, maybe 6,000.
So do you think, like, extrapolating that's like 4 or 5 more months worth of travel? Is that what you're expecting out of it, or?
I hope not, because it'll get cold in October. So
true. Yeah.
So I think the beginning of October is my drop dead time frame, to where if I'm not home by then I'll just figure out a way to get home.
Book it up, yeah.
Because it's not fun riding in the cold for days and days and days.
Because we rode through a little bit, but nothing like real cold temps.
Yeah, where it's like the morning starts out, you can just see your breath and be like, oh God.
There was a quick trip, I think it was in Tennessee, maybe an hour out, that Todd and I I think we were just in Murfreesboro, which is just like an hour outside of here. And we just stayed too late one day during the fall, and so it just got cold at night, and we had to ride back in like t-shirts and like...
Oh, it's like legit cold on the eastern part. I was really surprised by that.
Oh, on the eastern coast?
Yeah.
Or eastern side, yeah.
Yeah, it's like legit cold.
Yeah. It's is it right now, like while you're riding still, or
as I got out of the Appalachian area, it's gotten warmer. But when I was kind of in that Appalachian area,
really? I'm kind of surprised, because we're like hottest time of the season here in the States.
Yeah.
It's still pretty cold at night.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it got cold enough. I've got like a 20 degrees sleeping bag and a sleeping bag liner, and I used them both.
And that was in which state?
That was in North Carolina and Virginia.
Really? Wow, that's awesome.
Just kind of just staying around that area, and yeah, it got legit cold.
That's surprising. That's cool to know that it gets that cold. So you told me today that you had a couple crashes.
Yes.
Or a couple river crossings even.
Yes, I had 3 river crossings this morning.
So what kind of like river crossings were they? Were they like a little like pin it and pray, or were they like trudge and?
There was one where I kind of asked myself what Todd would do, because Todd with friends would just go right through the middle and hang on.
Hey!
But solo Todd says, what would Todd do? And just like try to get around the edges as much as I can.
Yeah. Oh, those are huge.
Yeah. One just went in my finger, so that's good.
Yeah, that's the best I could probably do for you.
That's the
Run from it.
Thank you.
And
that's smart, especially when you're out there on your own and like
it was deep. There's some guys that were in some big pickup trucks. I could hear from my tent, and then just hear the water just going. Like, oh boy, here we go.
Oh man.
And it was the third crossing that was there wasn't any edges to go on. It was just
you just gotta do it.
You gotta go. There was just kind of rocks. So you kind of see, even just some kind of a path through all of the water. And so I just pinned it right on those rocks and just hit something and then just fell. Yeah. And of course I was really bent out of shape.
Yeah.
And
is that what bent the?
Yeah.
Did that happen today?
Yeah. That's what bent the front fender a little bit, and so this is the result of the fall from today. But otherwise,
this little like bend here.
Yeah. And of course, I had my paper maps in my pocket, so I was panicking, and so as I kind of get up out of the water, and then kind of course, check to make sure everything was okay on the bike. Yeah. And then just kind of put it in first gear as I'm walking right next to it. Then just went like half a meter and just went book on the other side, and then bent the brake, the brake on the left or on the right side.
Oh my gosh!
Just from the fall.
Just to tip over, and it's different.
Fall in the river where. So it's like, oh, here we go again. Then
so it sounds like these trails are nothing to joke about. Like they can get
they're
pretty gnarly.
Yeah, I think they're mostly for kind of bikes that are bigger than a monkey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Kind of the bigger tires, so like just like a dual sport. Off-road bike.
That's right. Yeah, and you didn't mention that you're doing all of this on a monkey bike, a 125.
Yeah.
Little normal road tires, nothing too crazy.
Yeah, nothing crazy. And some days the rocks are, it's like trying to walk on marbles.
Yeah.
Other days it's not a big deal. Well, so it's like it's nice to have a monkey when you wipe out, because then you just pick it up and you go. Yeah. And the only thing that really breaks is your composure as you get annoyed. So you just have to say, like, okay, fine, it's all fine. I didn't fall far.
Yeah.
I wasn't going fast enough to really hurt myself.
Yeah. And that's what I tell people that are interested in getting into bikes. I'm like, try a small one, because it's really hard to really hurt yourself if you're going 30 miles an hour on a monkey bike, a foot off the ground.
Yeah. You have to make a point to really hurt yourself to really get hurt, in addition to having all of the protective gear on and stuff.
So have you had any injuries so far? I mean, it's only been 3-ish weeks, so.
See, this is from, you can't even tell anymore.
Oh, I can see kind of on the front, there's like a little.
Yeah, just a little bruise, but that was it. That's been the only thing tangible so far.
And what was that from? Was that
that's from the fall on the left.
The fall today, yeah. That's pretty good. Track record though. One day out of what, 22 so far?
Yeah, well, I've had other falls, but it's never been a big deal.
Yeah.
So kind of take a corner too sharp and then boop, just fall over.
Well, we can talk a little bit about how we met,
sure.
Which is an insane story. So we met at doing a race through Peru, and I'm interested to kind of get your comparison on the trails here to the trails in Peru, because obviously I know what that's like. They probably don't know too much what the trails in Peru are like, but talk about a little bit about our experience in Peru. What made you want to sign up for it? Kind of what got you into this whole arena of motorcycles.
So kind of I've done the adventurous Morocco trip, and so that's where I learned to ride a motorcycle.
And that's where it's like a race where you show up, you get a bike, and then you go across the Moroccan Desert and to an unknown point until you get there, right?
Correct. Yes. You start in Marrakesh, just outside Marrakesh, and you end on the edge of the Sahara Desert over 5 or 7 days. I forget.
Oh my gosh.
But I went through I met up with 6 other guys, and I was the only one that's never ridden before. And they were all super cool about it and helping me out. And we went through the Atlas Mountains, the anti-Atlas area, the desert, and then it's kind of right through the middle. And then we ended up at the destination towards like the last minute of the cutoff time.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So we were sweating and just hanging on.
And so what got you? How did you know about this race? Like, how did you get involved? Was it the people that invited you, or how did you know about the adventurists?
I looked. This is even earlier than that. So I did Morocco in 2019, And then like 2018, I was searching for amazing life experiences.
Okay, yeah.
And then the adventurous Rickshaw Run came up.
Yep.
And so I started looking around. It's like, well, let's just try a 50cc monkey bike in Morocco because you don't need a license. You don't need a motorcycle license there, just a driver's license.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got that. Okay, let's just sign up. So I did. So in March I did Morocco, and then in August I did the Rickshaw Run of 2019.
Okay, cool. And for those who don't know what a rickshaw is, how would you explain
It's
that contraption?
let's see here. How I did. So it's a vehicle. So it's a taxi where the engine. It's like a lawnmower. It's
like a lawnmower.
It's like a 90cc engine.
Yeah.
And you got the clutch and the acceleration are all in the handles.
And it's usually like a little 3-wheeled tricycle with an enclosure on the top or whatever.
3 wheels, no doors, and usually stuff so that passengers can hang on like along the sides and stuff, so you can really pack on people.
and then that was through
where? That was through India. We started in the southernmost part of India, and then we ended just south of Pakistan, which was about 3,000 kilometers or 2,000 miles.
Wow. And then how long was that trip?
That was 2 weeks.
2 weeks of 2 weeks in the lawnmower mobile.
Yeah. Yep. I was solo in that one, and so I just had to. Go
through training real quick.
Yep. Yes. So went through the training. Training was about 45 minutes. They say, okay, here's a jerry can for your gas.
Yep.
And enjoy.
Wow.
And that's it. And so on my way back to the bed and breakfast, because there's not any hotels, it's all bed and breakfast in the southern area. I saw 2 brothers, and of course then I hit the horn so hard, constantly saying, "Would you mind if I tag up with you? We can go." And because I'd only brought a road atlas with me, I didn't bring a phone.
Oh wow, that's what I love about you, Todd. It's that little detail that might go unnoticed. That's just like, and I only brought a road atlas, and that was through where? This was through.
This is through the Adventurists.
And is it like what country?
This is through India. So
so you brought a road
a road atlas through India.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's a solid book.
I'm sure.
Trying to go through pages. It's like, okay, this road leads up here. And so I had my road atlas, but then I found these 2 brothers as they're checking out their bed and breakfast.
Yeah.
I didn't see anybody else. So it's
these are people from the race.
Yeah.
That you saw. Okay.
Yep. You could tell because you have your tuk-tuk custom painted. So you can pick those out from the other ones that are kind of green with a yellow top. So these are all custom paint jobs. And so they said, sure. So these 2 brothers said, sure, come on with us. And so I rode with them for 2 days. And then on the afternoon of this 3rd day, we got separated. And it's like, oh no. Todd's alone now. This is not a good place for me to be. And because we'd gotten separated because I was always following them because they had the phone and a plan. I was just a passenger.
Yeah.
And there's enough of a gap between us that other cars and stuff like that. And I just got slowly further and further away. They went left, I went right.
Yeah. The classic. And, we had some of that on our trip as well. The classic left and right.
And so we got separated, and that's when I learned how all the generosity of the Indian people and how nice they were.
Yeah.
Because I had kind of pulled over to the side. I went on my atlas and I found where I was, and there was a guy on a motorcycle that stopped by and asked me if I needed any help, and I said yes, a lot.
Yeah.
And so he said he was a police officer, and I said just to follow him because he's going the exact same way I'm going.
Yeah.
And so we went around and we were driving around, and then he kind of pulled off, and we went to go get something to eat at this little, I guess, house.
Yeah.
It didn't have a sign or anything like that. It was just like
someone's house.
Yeah, it was just someone's house right there, and the guy had and he just kind of served some toast and some eggs.
Yeah.
But at that point, I was like, this is like the best thing I've ever had.
Yeah, the basics hit different when you're hungry.
You're just like
tired.
And so we're going, and so we're just kind of continued on, and then he said, "Yep, I need to turn here, but yeah, you just want to go straight down that way,
and
you'll find like your first major road, hang a right, and just kind of keep on going. All right, sounds good." So I'm going along, and it's like, okay, let's just stop here. So I pull off this side. I'm looking at my atlas again, and I find
where you're at,
and there's a guy that didn't speak English. I said, "Yeah, I'm an American, and I don't know any. I only know English." And so then the guy kind of flagged down his friend to come over, and so then they translated, and I was invited to go to this guy's workplace and use a computer for as long as I wanted to go and figure out all my navigation and everything.
Yeah.
Who does that?
That's insane. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the generosity. It's just ridiculous. And so then that night, it was starting to like the sun was going down, and I just saw like the first hotel.
Mm-hmm.
I pulled off there, but I cheaped out that night and did the no AC.
Oh yeah.
And so I just did a fan.
Yeah.
Like, okay, yeah, it's fine here. I was fine during the day without with driving, so it's not going to get that bad. I was wrong.
Oh no!
At midnight, the fan just stopped.
Oh no!
Yeah. All the power was cut off, and my door and my room was sealed shut. I was a giant sweat ball. It was so hot.
Good Lord, yeah.
And
this is all within, it sounds like, the first couple days of
this
trip.
This is on day 3.
Day 3, yeah. So, that's what I love about these trips that the adventures did. That like you just get so much happens so quickly, and it's like
every single day
is something crazy.
Something happens every single day, and then it was so it was on the fourth day of the 4th. I remember this because this was India's Independence Day.
Okay, wow.
And
what a time to be there.
Oh, it was a huge deal.
Yeah.
And so I left. So I was on the road, and then I see a tuk-tuk pass me. It's like, oh my God, there's another tuk-tuk somewhere.
Yeah.
So I'm honking, and they pulled off to go buy a flag to go and strap to their tuk-tuk. And so they're from Denmark.
Oh,
and so I said, can I join you guys? I said, sure. There's 6 others in addition to those 3. So I was with a
group. Yeah.
So I was 13 out of 12.
Yeah. Yeah, I love on the trips, because the route that you're going on is it's not exactly planned, but they pass cross no matter which route you kind of pick, and you'll run into people randomly.
Yeah.
And it's just that it's such a weird experience because you're like, what the?
How is this possible?
Yeah.
But the odds are probably higher than you really think.
Probably, yeah. But it's like a great serendipitous moment when you're
it's like, oh my God.
It feels like a miracle when you're out there and you're just like alone, or you're waiting, or
you haven't seen like anything, and suddenly you see like something familiar.
And you're in a country you don't speak the language, everything's foreign, and then all of a sudden you see something that's familiar.
Yeah. Like, oh, I'm not alone.
That's amazing. So that trip sounds.
Yeah. I met so with that group it was 6 from Denmark. So they're in two tuk-tuks.
Mm-hmm.
There's a group of 3 from Norway, and then a group of 3 from Australia.
Wow.
And so I'm still in touch with a couple of those guys, and still good friends with them. So
that's awesome.
Been really cool.
And then before any of these trips, did you ever have any experience with motorcycles or inclinations towards them, or was it kind of packaged into the life experience?
It was my father was a doctor, my mother was a nurse, and I've been told repeatedly, whatever you do, Todd, don't get a motorcycle.
Yeah.
They're just organ donating machines, and it's like, whatever.
Yeah.
And so then it's like, then I was watching Sons of Anarchy, and it's like, oh my God, that looks so much fun.
Yeah.
And so it's like, no, Todd, this is too much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so you just kind of hear about other friends that have had friends of friends and stuff like that with motorcycle accidents. I was like, Todd, just don't get a motorcycle. Just whatever you do, just promise me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, fine, I promise. Oh, then the pandemic happened. Well, and then I said, so then with Morocco, it was just 50cc. It's no big deal. I
Yeah.
can get it out of my system and then one and done.
Yeah, and you're not on like giant roads with a bunch of semis or a bunch of other cars. Because most motorcycles, if you're driving, responsibly, most injuries and threats revolve around the people around you and not actually you just being on a road alone. It's like being in traffic. And so I'm sure Morocco wasn't too bad, or maybe it was. I don't know what the traffic was like there. I know
it wasn't bad when you've got like a caravan of 7 guys.
Yeah.
When I was I wasn't at the end just in case something happened, so there was a guy right behind me.
Yep.
So I was like number 6 in line of the 7, so I didn't feel that risk at all or anything like that.
I guess I didn't think of the cities or what the traffic was like in those. I was thinking like because most of the desert riding is like you're just out there alone, right?
Oh yeah. You're just out there and. Hope you have enough water with you. Those bottles are not meant to be strapped to anything.
Oh wow!
So you gotta bring an Nalgene, at least one Nalgene.
So you said Morocco, I'll get it out of my system. And
done. And then in India with the rickshaws, I kept thinking it's probably a lot more fun on a motorcycle.
I remember you telling me that you kind of feel like in a little bubble or
yeah. It's like you've got like this extra layer around you, even though it's just a little bit. Yeah. You still you don't. I don't. It just you can still see like boundaries, and so it's always nice to not see those boundaries.
Yeah, I think you said something about like it's the difference between like feeling like you're watching a movie or like being in the movie.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which is why I love riding a motorcycle too, and why those kind of trips are so like visceral because you just feel everything, the wind, the cold.
The rain.
The rain. It just rained right before I got here, like torrential downpour. And our neighbor actually, like their tree just fell down in the backyard. It was so aggressive. So I was texting. I don't know if you called it text in the end, but I texted, "Hey, are you okay? It started raining like real bad, like an hour before you showed up."
Like, wow.
But I figured you were okay. We've gone through some pretty.
Oh yeah. It's just to hang on.
Yeah. So you just kept driving through it? It wasn't too bad to have to pull over?
Yeah, I just kind of pulled over to go. Well, while on the Trans-America Trail, I've kind of gotten used to being aware of the weather more than what I would be otherwise. Where if it's warm and you kind of feel like a cool breeze, like, oh no, here we go again. And so it's pull over, put on the rain pants, be like, okay, could be a false alarm, so I'm just gonna leave the rain jacket at the top of my bag, and then continue on. And like 30 minutes later, rain jacket comes on, and be like, okay, all right, it's getting. And then just kind of continue on. But yeah, it's that first wave of cold.
Just feeling it's like,
really, it's been so nice.
Yeah.
Let's go on to the next adventure.
Yeah.
And then pandemic happened.
Okay, yeah. So then no more travel, no more nothing.
Yeah. It's like, no more travel. All I have is a bicycle from my ex-roommate who left it here when he went to go move in with his girlfriend.
Oh, wow, yeah. So it's just some hand-me-down.
Yeah. And they're like, man, I really could go for a motorcycle right now.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, what's the only motorcycle I'm familiar with, and that's a monkey.
True, yeah.
And let's try to buy one of the motorcycles from the Adventurists. Because I could figure out any way why I would ever need to go faster than 30 miles an hour.
Yeah.
That's the max speed on the 50cc bikes. But they were only sold in bulk of 1,000 per order.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Skyward motorcycles, you need to sell singly.
Yeah.
And
I thought about that. I thought it would be so cool to have one of those back here. But it sounds like they don't sell them.
Nope.
Do they?
Nope. They don't. Which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
And then looked around. It's like, well, Honda has the 125, but then you need to get a motorcycle license for that. Mm-hmm. It's like, that's just too much friction for me to get involved.
Yeah.
And it's like, then I kept thinking about it. It's like
the pandemic kept happening.
Let's fucking go. Let's get this thing figured out. Let's get it out of the system. And so I did all the stuff, got all the paperwork, got a ride to the I guess the hobbyists or the small engine vehicle place in Minneapolis, and they said, yeah, we've got a couple left. They're really popular for everybody that's going up to their cabins and family stuff. So, but yeah, we got a couple from 2019. Yeah, okay, you can come on by. It's like, well, okay. So we got it all figured out, got all the insurance. It was so complicated to try and get insurance when you don't have a motorcycle or you don't have any car.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, because it was like, yeah, we'll pack it on, we'll add on to your existing car, health insurance, renter's insurance. I'm a homeowner. I've got my homeowner's policy that doesn't have anything to do with
any of that,
with anything. They don't offer motorcycle insurance. It's like, okay, it was one thing after another. And so, so anyway, got that all sorted out, and so that's how I got the motorcycle in August of 2020.
Well, sweet. And so, what did you think once you got your hands on it? Because you had ridden the 50cc.
Oh, I was just sweating and just constantly in city traffic, even though the city traffic was way less than what it could have been. Yeah. And that's why I was kind of just intrigued about it, and it's like, so it's like this will be the time to try it out in the city, and not be nervous because there's just less
the pandemic and less
traffic was around and stuff, and so. But then I got kind of used to all of the traffic, and then the traffic filled back up again, and it was no big deal. Yeah. So it was just more familiarity stuff. So yeah.
Sweet. And now I'm guessing that's the one that's right out there in the front yard. We can cut to some of the video going around it. Yeah.
So that's the one I call the Red Dragon.
The Red Dragon.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, I've got Old Blue out there. Bet you can guess what color it is. And, well, sweet. So that got you into motorcycles. I guess what's next for you on this trail? I mean, you're in Tennessee for a couple of days.
Yeah, so I'm in Tennessee for 750 miles.
Okay, wow. Yeah.
And so
then how many did you cover today? It's different. You had some river crossing, some rain.
Yeah. So today, including the time to get here. So I think probably today was maybe 10 miles to get to an actual road in order to get to the 190 miles to get here.
Okay, so gotcha. I was going to say, whoa, so you were really close, but you had 10 miles to get to
to a road.
Paved road.
Yeah, so I can get to a paved road.
Gotcha, then 190 out. Okay, wow, yeah.
Yeah, so I had to go to a tiny town and then up to Tellico Plains.
Yeah. Man, I'm very interested. I'm sure give it a couple of years and I'll convince you to do the Chattanooga 500 because I'm very interested in all the like what trail riding is like around here because I've never ridden any of the trails in the U.S. even, right?
Yeah,
I've only done Peru trails, which were awesome, but I don't know, for some reason I just have this idea of the States and it's like that doesn't exist, but obviously you're doing a whole...
They do, but it takes a lot of work to find them because they are very hard to find.
Is it that they're like the starting points of the trails are hidden, or what makes them hard to find?
They look like driveways.
Oh, really?
It's like streets, like an actual road that is not marked by any means. Yeah. There's no street signs. It's just a dirt road. And I think like what could possibly be here? Let's go and try and find something else. Yeah. And then that one dirt road is 15 miles to like the roundabout way to go 1 mile by an actual road.
Oh wow, yeah.
So and
I'm sure what makes it more difficult is that you have explain a little bit about the navigation that you're using because I'd never heard of it. It's popular, but I'd never heard of it.
It's not popular at all.
It's not popular at all.
It's not popular
what
at all.
What about within the trail community? Is it at all? Or?
No, it's antiquated. It's all deprecated for a GPS.
Explain it a little bit.
Roll chart.
Might not know what a roll chart is.
A roll chart is a paper-based turn-by-turn directions. Mm-hmm. So there's so it says like turn right, and there's a picture of with the arrow going right, in addition to the instructions saying go right, and then above that it'll say like a distance you're supposed to travel.
Okay, yeah.
And then usually go to the next, either turn left or turn right at the next spot. Yeah. So when you're using the roll chart, you have to pay attention to your miles that you've ridden so far that day, add on and be like, this is about where it's supposed to be. It's not going to be exact. Mm-hmm. So if you're off by like a little bit, and there's like like a right turn, and it says turn right. Okay, let's go here, and it's the wrong one because the next one is like half a mile further.
Yeah.
Because you just didn't quite do the addition right.
Has that happened to you at all yet? Or
yes. I'd be like,
oh, yeah.
where am I? And so
I was half expecting you to go, no, not yet. It's been so early in the trip.
It was just like, it just happens so often. It's like for every 100 miles I make it on the trail, I ride like an extra 130 miles. Like I ride like an extra 30 miles to go backtrack to go figure out where I was before.
Yeah.
And that's where the phone comes in with the offline maps.
Yeah.
So I try not to use that as much as I can.
When you get in a...
But man, you get into a bind and be like, where am I on this thing?
Yeah.
And the offline maps are just magic.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember when we were in Peru, last minute I downloaded those, thank God. Because that was the only maps we had through the whole thing. I was in a similar case where we were, we had someone else was navigating and we were, happy to go along with them. And we got separated from them, so... offline maps, lifesaver for sure.
Yeah.
Very good to have. But man, I love the idea of like just having the roll by roll direction. It looks like a little scroll. I can cut to the video of that too. It's like this little scroll with little turnstiles in the window, and it's
printed on receipt paper. You can get a receipt printer. And
did you have a receipt? Did you get a receipt printer for
it,
or how did you print it
that's
out?
the part of the package.
Oh, okay.
Paper maps from the Trans-America Trail site, and those cost a bit more than the GPS maps. But I don't know, there's something I like the tangibility of the and when it's really bright out, it's really really difficult to see the screen.
The screen on a GPS, yeah.
But it's always fine.
And it makes you an active participant.
Yes.
Like you have to be.
Yeah, you have to be
engaged
aware
the whole time, or you miss the turn, and there's an extra. However long, right?
Oh yeah, you just kind of, it's like, wow, this is really cool. Like, oh no, I'm at the end of the road and it says turn right, and there is no right.
Oh
like,
no.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Let's turn around. Let's go back and do it again.
Oh god, yeah. Because I know that happened a time or two when we were using offline maps, and we had the luxury of being able to look and go, oh, we missed the turn here. But when you don't, it's like, I missed a turn somewhere.
I missed a turn somewhere. All right, let's go let's go look the offline maps. Where am I here? And let's try to find the road.
Well, that's awesome.
Like sometimes the roads are just like have a number on like road number 87. There's no road 87 anywhere on any Google Maps. It's painted on the side of the gates that are either open or closed if the trail is safe enough to ride on.
Yeah.
And that's all maintained by the state.
Gotcha, yeah. So talk a little bit about the the headspace that you have to be in for these things to be enjoyable. It's we're talking about taking wrong turns and adding days onto our travel and laughing and like how do you? Is this something that you've always had, or was it something you developed through the trips? Or
it's something I developed through the adventurous.
Yeah,
it's just to kind of have a big picture and then just roll with it every single day.
Yeah,
and just hang with it either until the end or until it stops being fun, and then just go home.
That's a really good. That's a very, I feel like, wise way to look at those types of adventures and trips. And I have to say, Todd was a ray of sunshine and hope through all of the. I mean, we had so many mishaps. Man.
It was just every single day.
And on top of like actual mechanical mishaps, we had to do some riding in trucks, which was like a little bit of a bummer because we didn't get to ride through the whole trip. And even through those things, I feel like you kept such a positive attitude, and there were a couple people on the trip that ended up leaving, and I was kind of sad that we didn't have a bigger caravan. But I think I would have been the most sad if we had lost Todd.
Yeah.
And we did lose Todd for a bit, and I was sad. I was like, oh my god.
Oh my god, it's that day. Oh.
Yeah,
that
that whole trip is
that one day was a museum moment for me.
A museum moment. Explain that.
That's like when you at the end of your life and you look back.
Oh,
there's a museum moments.
Yeah.
And that one day will be one because I've never had a negative spiral like that.
Oh yeah.
Being solo, being alone.
And that's crazy because you wouldn't have expected it when we found the next, because we saw you pretty soon after that, but you had kind of rallied yourself up.
It was,
whatever had happened.
Yeah, because this was the day after my rear wheel had fallen off.
In Peru.
twice in Peru. Let's be very specific about that. In Peru.
In a country we didn't speak the language very well.
I had my bike was loaded on the back of a pickup truck and going to get fixed.
And we were supposed to follow you.
Yeah, and you guys did great for a long time.
Yeah.
But then
hitting it and just trying to keep up.
Truck just kept going, and we're making all these turns and everything in the truck. I'm thinking, there's no way Austin and Todd are gonna find me. There's no way we're doing a river crossing.
We knew what city you were going to at least, but they said it was gonna be 3-hour drive, and it took us 9 hours on bikes to get there. But it took you guys 3 hours.
3 hours, yep,
to get there through the crazy driving that the trucks were able to do on those roads.
All the extortion things that were the like big
the guns
cinder pylons in the middle of the road. You had to go pay in order for them to remove it.
Yep.
I was like, that's a good racket. And so then we got to the repair shop, and the driver was saying, no, you want to go to this one down here, and be like, we get them. It's like, no, let's go to this one here. Like, there's no way anybody's gonna find me.
Yeah, that's right, because we were in Tombo, and then we had gone to what was the town's name?
I forget what it was called.
Kimpiri or something like that? Because
Kimpiri
Kimpiri was where we were trying to get to.
Yeah, it was like a small town kind of just adjacent to it.
But he went past that to another town up top that kind of felt like in Star Wars when there's all the industrial stuff, junkyard.
Yes.
It was kind of like that because there was a ton
That's
of...
a great way to describe it.
Because when we showed up, we were looking for you, and we went to the mechanic, and you weren't there, so we went to a second mechanic, and then I asked that guy, I said, how many mechanics are in this town? Because I was just going to go to each one until we found Todd, and he goes, 16? I was like, there's 16 mechanics? I'm like, there's no way. We're not gonna be able to search everyone. I'm like, let's get to a hotel, we'll get some Wi-Fi, and we'll see if Todd's gotten Wi-Fi in somewhere, and thankfully you were. But you had gone on to that town, Kimbiri, where we were originally trying to get to. But you were in the original town, the junkyard.
Yeah, in the town, and I got the bike off, and got all my stuff out, and the driver talked with the mechanic, so he knew what to fix, and it's like, okay. So I paid the driver, and then he left. I'm looking down the ground, it's like, where are my ratchet straps to hold my backpack onto the back of the bike?
Oh, and those are so necessary.
Oh, those are critical.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh no, I don't have my straps. How am I going to get my backpack to stay on the bike? Mm-hmm. I don't know Spanish. I don't have a phone. I've got no way of contacting anybody. I didn't even take a picture of where we're supposed to end up.
That's right. Oh,
so I didn't even know the ending location.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah,
that's insane.
I was like, I was negative. I was spiraling so hard. It's like I was on the verge of tears.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I just gotta hold together. I can find someone to sell that has a phone and internet access, so I can call Carlos.
That's right. Yeah, the main organizer of
the main guy, the O expletive moment. Give him a call. He'll get things sorted out.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I've got a phone. I've got a phone, but I'd have to call the Adventures headquarters because I didn't pay any attention to getting Carlos's number.
Oh no!
Because I didn't need it. Because I figure I'm with so many people. I don't need it.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't need that stuff.
Oh my god! That's so funny because I remember that mentality, and it's so visceral. Why would I need to worry about that kind of thing? I have 8 people around because we were in a caravan of 8 people in the beginning.
Yeah.
So it was it definitely felt like, I don't need to worry too much about.
Yeah, I mean, you got a full group.
Yeah. And there were a couple people in the group that were very much, they had all the info, they had GPSs, they had anything that we would have needed.
Yeah.
And we lost them an hour into the trip.
It's like, what is going on?
And then
that's all.
Oh my god, yeah. So that makes sense.
So then as I was spiraling, I was like, okay, I've got a plan. I'm gonna get a phone, and then the driver showed up again, kind of check in on me on how things are going.
Yeah. And
it's like, I got my straps. Okay, I can at least get my backpack attached to the bike.
Yes.
Okay. And so then the shop got the rear tire all fixed and everything works great. The driver loaded it back up on the back of the bike.
Yeah.
Or in the back of the truck, and he says, I'm going to take you to meet your friends. Like, oh man, this is great.
Yeah. And he says meet your friends as in,
It's
like,
like
he knows where
yeah.
people are somehow.
Yeah, it's like well, I guess that's because you and the driver talked for a bit.
That's right. I was
And
telling
it's like,
him that we were
well,
trying to get to
go
Kambiri.
So he dropped me off in the middle of
Pachari,
Kambiri.
I think that was the name of the town we were
That
in.
was the name of the town.
Yeah, Pachari. Because we had told him, we're trying to get to Kambiri. He goes, I'm driving through Kambiri to Pachari so I can take you there.
Yeah.
And we say, okay, we'll meet you in Pachari. So you're saying he comes back and he says, you guys are trying to get to Kambiri,
Yeah.
right? Essentially.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'll take you there.
Yeah.
So Tot and I, though, are still headed to Pachari as you're leaving now.
As I'm leaving at like 1 o'clock.
Though you had waited a long time for us, too. Or we're going to.
Yeah, I was all set. I was set to just sit there and wait.
Yeah.
It's like, I've got no other option.
And there was like nothing out there really
there was nothing.
That town was interesting. It's crazy, like these little towns that can survive and like there's like businesses and economies there. But there was really not much flourishing going on in that town culturally.
It was just
it's like an industrial
sustenance. People were just trying to survive the day and get on to the next day.
Yeah.
And so then I went to Kambiri. So the driver had dropped me off in the center, in like a park, right in the middle of Kambiri.
Yeah.
And so that's where I waited. I was there from like 1 o'clock to about 4 o'clock.
Okay, well, yeah, so you waited quite a while.
Yeah, it's like, yep.
And did you at that moment think that we were potentially on our way to
Oh, yeah.
Kambiri? Because he said, I'll take you to your friends?
Yep,
Oh,
yep,
no.
They'll show up at some point.
Yep.
Well, then at like 4 o'clock, the driver came by to check up on me again. And that's when he called his friend, Guillermo. Guillermo, I don't know his last name. But the driver called Guillermo, and he said I could understand the point where I could not speak Spanish, and so the driver handed me the phone, and Guillermo was talking with me, and he said, I speak English, fluent English. Come over to my house. No big deal. Have some water, relax for a bit.
Yeah.
And
what were you thinking at this point?
Just chill.
You're like,
I don't have any other options. It's been 3 hours,
Yeah.
and it's like
sounds like a good deal to me.
Austin and Todd might have broken down somewhere.
True. Yeah. I mean,
They
those
would have
roads are.
shown up by now, without a completely. I did not even understand like how far that was, like because we were taking so many turns.
And you got to Pachari in 3 hours.
Yeah.
Fixed your bike, drove to Kambiri, and we were supposed to be there within 3 hours. And now it has already been like what 5, 6
like,
hours.
well,
so
something's happened.
yeah.
It's like okay, we'll just get. I don't have any other options right now.
Yeah.
So let's go to Guillermo's house.
Yeah.
And so I followed the driver over to Guillermo's house, which I felt super weird about.
Yeah. You felt weird like
I
following up and.
Yeah, I was like, okay, let's go have some ice water and have a chat with someone that speaks English, and so he could kind of point me in a direction. And
what felt weird about it? What was like?
It was just going to a stranger's house.
Yeah.
Like the driver that was nice enough to pick us up pick me up in the morning and drive me is now checking up on me throughout the day and just seeing how things are going, and now driving to someone's house. Like, I guess this is the hospitality.
Yeah. In hindsight, it's like when you say it in that order, part of me is like, oh, that sounds like very specific. Like
it is very specific.
But I mean, honestly, it really felt in the moment, and I think even in hindsight, broadly, like the hospitality was amazing, and that was just kind of like general people would help. They take their whole day to help you, which was amazing. And so you're driving up. Yeah,
so I pull up and I park the bike, and I'm going to have a glass of water with Guillermo, and then probably 15 minutes later, the Kill Bill group arrives.
Yeah, I'll throw up a photo of the Kill Bill group.
To the at Guillermo's house.
At Guillermo's house.
Yes.
Okay, at the stranger's house that you
Yes.
go into, there's
They're like,
other adventurists now.
yes.
Oh my god.
So they was like, what is going on here? And so he's like, yeah, we it's like we've seen a lot of you guys like around Kimbiri. How does he know that? I didn't even think to ask.
Yeah.
But and
we've
then,
seen you. There's
yes,
this weave.
Yeah, this weave as they get like another driver to go and bring like escort
More,
people to the house, and then the California group, the group of 5
Show up as well.
show up as well.
So you got a large group now.
Oh yeah, we've got like a group of it's probably
almost
everybody on the Amazon route is now at Guillermo's house all at one time,
Yeah.
which was very strange. But and of course Guillermo says, oh yeah, I've got this big farm. You guys can go and camp kind of on the ground, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It'll be great. It's the nicest farm in the area. Like, and so I go over to the California group, like, can I ride with you guys?
Yeah.
We're like, oh sure, come on. And then we they didn't have any money with them, so they went to the ATMs and started driving all around town to try and find a working ATM, which that's not the easiest thing to find.
Oh no. Yeah, they did not bring any cash.
They didn't bring any cash
which was
at all.
wild to me. I came with everything. I was I don't need a card. I got everything that I'm gonna need.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. Maybe the idea is you don't want to get in a position where it gets stolen or you get extorted out of it. Because with a credit card, they just fraud and they'll protect it.
Yeah.
But when you've got $1,000 in cash, it's just gone when it gets taken.
Yep.
But there are not ATMs everywhere out there. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, it's I don't know if they thought they could just kind of just charge it all and then not worry about it. And
so they were looking for an ATM.
Yep. And then they started talking. It's should we actually go out there? Because what if he's into drugs and stuff? What is a drug dealer and something like that? Because how else can you have the nicest place in town and while we were all at his house, the mayor of Kimbiri stopped by.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right.
Who is this guy?
Political influence, super nice house. And to be fair, it wasn't a crazy thing to think. Carlos had told us that the Amazon route was known to for drug trafficking routes, and we had to change the ending route because the route that that the adventurers used to go on ended up being taken over by one of the cartels. So it wasn't a random maybe he's a drug dealer because they were in Peru. It was no, this is this is where the drugs are being trafficked and and moved across roads. So it's not the craziest idea. And and the fact that he had political influence, very interesting for sure. Definitely, I'm not sure what I would have done in that position either. So, but you guys are maybe you're talking it over.
It's I think we should do it. Oh, but it's what if we're so? I was they're going through every single scenario, every disaster movie.
And you don't go through the good
movie.
ones.
Oh yeah, it was every horror.
You're
movie
in your survival mode. You're thinking all
that. It's or we could just stay at a hotel and not worry about it.
Yeah.
But then Guillermo's gonna know we stayed at a hotel and not his farm, and he's gonna come after us. And then it was just
yeah. And with a name like Guillermo, that's just the craziest. That's the perfect name for this character, which I never met, but it sounds it's got that ring to it. Guillermo.
Yeah. It's just Guillermo.
Yeah.
Everybody knows Guillermo.
And that's people just
would
say, right?
People he does have drivers bringing people into town, bringing people to his house.
Yeah. Crazy. So you guys ultimately end up deciding to go to
a hotel.
A hotel, okay.
Yeah, yep. So all the Californians went and maxed out whatever they could pull out from the ATMs that day, and then they went. Then we went to a hotel, and then next morning, gathered up everybody's ATM card again to go max it out for the day.
Yeah.
And then we were on the road again. So we were on the Amazon route, and
which was gnarly.
Which just destroyed our bikes.
Yeah, and those bikes were not built well. They were built to fall apart. It felt like.
Yeah, it's like they were built to fall apart and be easily fixed.
Yeah.
And not critical failures.
True, yeah, exactly, yeah.
So it's like, yeah, so all the mechanics we'd see along the way just kind of pull in there and they'll fix it or whatever and then continue on. But yeah, so we'd, yes, and the Californians had just constant breakdowns, even just one thing after another. So they're always getting theirs fixed.
Yeah.
And I remember so I'd fallen and
that's right.
my gear shifter had broken off, so I was stuck in first gear.
Perfect. I mean, if you're gonna get stuck in gear, at least
at least
it's first.
At least
right?
it's first gear.
Because you actually really needed that to get up hills, and like it got pretty steep and pretty. That's so funny though. So
and so then so we were at a mechanic. The guy gives me a gear shifter, and we're going, and everybody else's bike is fixed, and we're all set to leave. And it's like, oh guys, I can't get out of first gear. And then the California says, oh no, we've got to leave you behind because the girls don't want to ride at night.
yeah,
And
which is kind of meh.
yeah,
Not what you want to hear.
Yeah. So we try to figure out something and like some other alternative to keep fluent Spanish speaker with me, or it's like somebody so I'm not there alone.
Yeah.
They weren't having any of that. all of them would just go.
And they were like a group of like what?
Like 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 5. And but fortunately, got the mechanic, and it was like a 2-minute fix on just in the tension in the gear cable.
Yeah, the cable.
And then I was like, okay, all right, I'm all set to go. And then we all left. We all left together, and it wasn't so too long after that the bungee cords needed to be adjusted on the back of their bikes holding their gear on.
Mm-hmm.
And so we all stopped, and that's when you and Tatiana showed up.
Yep, and that's when your motorcycle stopped.
Yes, and it was now that we have our group of 8. Now let's continue on, and then I pressed the ignition button, and nothing happened.
Yeah.
Despite having fuel, electricity, it
was just running.
Yeah, it was just running. I pressed the stop button. Mm-hmm. Didn't start back up again.
Yeah.
And then the Californian says, "Okay, we have to go.
Gotta go. Yeah.
We've got to go. It's 3 o'clock. It's getting late. We gotta go."
Yeah. When I showed up, they were freaking out.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't take much to freak them out. So.
And so they ended up making the choice to head on, and luckily we had shown up, and were able to just be a group and not have to leave you alone out there.
Yeah.
And I remember I took my spark plug out to try to diagnose why your spark plug wasn't working, because it ended up being that your ignition coil was out. But trying to troubleshoot, I'd taken my spark plug out, and to pull it out of the boot, I gripped it with pliers and bent the teeth on the spark plug itself, which was a big mistake. It took our 2 working motorcycles down to 1 working motorcycle, which was not ideal.
That's not good for anybody.
Here, I'm gonna grab her real quick because they like to play a little rough. I remember we were there waiting for a bit. We had tons of cars pass going down the hill, but we were looking for one going up the hill. At one point, there was like 8 people. There was 2 trucks that came out. 8 people were all out. We were talking with them, and they were essentially convinced us to go down the hill because there wasn't going to be anyone.
Well, I think they essentially they all talk to you since you're the only one that can understand.
I tried my best.
Yeah.
We were all saying tons of stuff.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, they essentially were like, it's it's dangerous. You can't stand on the road. And we were like trying to convince them, no, we'll wait until somebody comes. And they ended up convincing me, I guess, to take the group down. And we stayed the night at that town that was, it had to be like 30, 50-ish population. And stayed there for the night. It was pretty beautiful. It was like right on the river. We were like getting scammed, but helped at the same time with the attic room.
Yeah, at the hostel.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the hostel was, because it's like we searched like the Google offline maps for any kind of hotels in the area, and there was one because we were pushing our bikes through the streets.
Yeah, just it didn't work.
There was one that was nearby. It was a hostel, and so then we kind of arrived at the hostel and said, yeah, there's no rooms.
Yeah, because they were having a festival of
and everything was booked.
their yearly festival for what was it, the
1 year anniversary of the founding of the town.
That's right, yeah, like the founding of the town's annual anniversary, and they so everyone from out of town had come to the town and booked up all the rooms. But we were like, we'll stay on the ground, like we just like in the lobby.
We just need something somewhere.
With
we got camping equipment. Can we just have a sleeping bag on the ground?
That's right.
And then that's when you could kind of see.
You could see we were in trouble, and that we were desperate. And so he's like, he gives us a price, and we're just like, yeah, we'll do like whatever. And then you can tell he was like, maybe I should have said a higher number or something. But
it wouldn't have mattered. I mean,
yeah, it would have been like, okay,
because we were in rough shape.
And so he let us sleep in the attic of this hostel. It was like open air, like so we had mosquito nets and stuff over the beds. And then we were pretty tired, but we went ahead and grabbed some food and went out to the festivities that night.
Yeah.
A lot of loud music. Every city in Peru has this little like small football field, and so they were having some football field or football as in soccer. They had this small little soccer field, football field, and they were playing out there. I remember, but we turned in pretty early. We were tired.
It was like 9:30, 10 o'clock, maybe at the latest.
And also we did that because the guy at the hostel told us like, hey, like be back by 10. Because we're gonna lock the doors, and then you're gonna have to knock on the door. We'll have to come down. So just be back by 10. So we were back by 10, but the party went on until.
Went on.
Oh my gosh! I mean, what do you think went on till?
It went on because I remember the live music was playing.
So
and then there was a break from the live music for the fireworks that started at 1 a.m.
That's right. Yeah.
And then after the fireworks were done, it was back to the live music. And the live music ended like at 5 o'clock, maybe 5:30.
Yeah.
In time for the roosters.
Yep. And then
started,
the roosters start
and
going off.
Then
we're up.
And we're up and
at 'em.
Trying to get to the mechanic.
Dude, I don't know how we had such a like positive demeanor. Like thinking about it, I'm like, I'm so exhausted by the idea of it, but I guess you're just in the moment and you're just rolling with the punches and.
Yeah, so either you can kind of choose to be upset and that's not going to fix anything, or else you can choose to not be upset. And you're like, well.
Yeah, and so we wake up, it's pouring rain as we're like strapping our stuff together, pushing our bikes out, like waiting for a truck, trying to hitchhike out of there. Oh man. And yeah, that was the majority of that trip. We got a ride. But yeah, I mean, that was an amazing trip overall. It was all those little terrible things that made it super great, honestly. Like, because it's easy to forget the little like niceties here and there, but you'll never forget pushing your bike through the rain or having to
pushing your bike uphill because it was so nice we could coast downhill to the hostel.
Way there, yeah.
So in the morning when it was raining, pushing the bike through the rain, and we had positioned or we had set up. Or sat waiting for the cars to go up the Amazon. Yeah. It's like we sat at like an intersection where it was like a mechanic was on the corner there.
Yeah, that's right.
But couldn't fix our bikes.
Yeah. Yeah. He was like, this is like a really bad break. You're gonna need to go to like a big city. Yeah. So wrapping up the trip overall, you end up finishing the Peru trip, going home, and then what? Had you already been thinking about the Trans-American Trail, or was it something new that you had thought of?
I've been kind of thinking about it, but I wasn't sure where it would fit in my schedule logistically. I wanted to do it at some point, but I didn't know when. Yeah. And so I decided that I would need to quit my job to do the Trans-American Trail.
Yeah. How did that go? What was that whole process like?
I made it a bigger deal in my head than what it actually turned out to be.
Oh, really? So what were you thinking it was in your head at the beginning? You were like,
because it's like I thought that because since I work from home, I thought that there's gonna have to be like the goodbye lunch. Got to go into the office for that.
mm-hmm.
Got to go figure. It's like all the logistics around that. Before the pandemic, I was kind of going through all like everything. It's like, oh god, because I don't really want to deal with all that stuff. It was stressing. Like the whole thing about quitting my job was stressing me out enough that when I went to my semi-annual dentist visit, they noticed I was grinding my teeth, and so I had to get a retainer to go prevent teeth grinding. And so that was like, oh god, how much stress is there? Because it was also the thing from Peru as well was also stressing me out. All the logistics around COVID testing. You had to make sure you had all the paperwork
it was
set
stressful.
up.
The traveling
Before and after and all that stuff around there. So quitting my job, what ended up happening was one day this was like at the end of April. So this was probably 2 weeks after we got back from Peru.
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of made a choice one day. It's like, okay, it was on like a Monday, and I said, all right, I'm going to call my boss at 12 o'clock. And I mean, I was just sweating bullets.
Quitting your job is not
an
easy thing to do for sure.
I called up my boss. I said, hi Tim. He said, hey Todd. I said, I just want to let you know I'm putting my 3 weeks notice. He goes, oh, okay. What's your next job gonna be? Be like, travel.
Yeah.
I'll be a life of leisure at least for a little bit.
Yeah.
And so that's
much simpler than you thought it was.
He says, okay, we'll get a plan in place here in the next few weeks, and then that'll be it.
Wow, okay. So you knew ahead of time a little bit. So you've been, guessing, stashing away and getting ready for the trip. And...
Yeah, it's kind of been I've just been kind of doing my computer programming jobs during the pandemic, and without having a car or a girlfriend or wife or kids or pets or plants. I mean, it's like nothing. I was going through the pandemic really hit me hard. I was like existential thing is like, if I don't wake up in the morning, who's gonna miss me? Like,
oh wow, yeah.
Like,
well, we definitely would miss you now.
I'll be like, I'd probably get a call in a couple of days from my boss.
Yeah.
Because he would see I hadn't logged on, or like the instant messenger stuff would say like away from the office or away from the computer for like a day or something like that. That could be kind of curious. But I mean, there'd be days, like many days, where I would receive 0 emails, 0 messages, like 0 IMs,
stuff,
0 phone calls, like.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, compound that with the pandemic, and it's like you're isolated, you're in your home, like. And
even it's like am I supposed to be working today? Does somebody know something I don't? Nope, they're all online.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's just so strange, like to say, no emails, no automated emails, no nothing.
That is crazy. So you had that. You kind of stashed away, prepared since the pandemic. You've kind of been stacking up enough to do these trips and stuff.
Yep. And then so when I quit my job, I had plans to. I already had been making plans to do Grand Canyon rim to rim hike, and so I made plans to do all that back in September of 2021. So I was with 3 other people, and one of them was just kind of organizing everything, and she submitted paperwork in the lottery pick for a campsite in the Grand Canyon, and she actually got a spot.
Oh wow!
Which I guess
so you were able to.
Is really hard to get, which I had no idea anything.
Yeah, you lucked out, huh? Being with the group.
And so we packed up our bags, and it's like I had like a 25-pound pack on, and then I also had to carry a lot of water. So water gets heavy. Water gets really heavy, and I only carried 3 liters with me, which I should have been carried a lot more.
Oh no!
And then the descent was 6.4 miles.
Wow!
To descend, so it didn't take too long for my knees to really get wore out.
Yeah. Downhill with the knees is tough.
especially 35 pounds. Be like,
Yeah.
I
Oh
got
my god. Yeah.
trekking poles on, and so our campsite was 14 miles into the
Oh my god.
22-mile route.
That's crazy.
There's just no place to hide from the heat and everything.
Yeah.
It's like no shade on the entire route.
Well, that sounds like a pretty gnarly.
Oh, it was. It's like how hard could this be? Because it's I've done mountain climbs, I've done hard stuff.
Yeah, at
before.
face value, a hike through the Grand Canyon doesn't seem. It almost seems a little touristy.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem too
it
difficult, but
until it's like you get to a few spots, like, yep, we don't have water here. If you want to the next one,
yeah.
or just a spot where it's like, man, I'm just wiped.
Yeah, and it sounds like the descents are probably more extreme and a little more long
it just wore it. Yeah, it just wore it down. And
Yeah.
Then,
So you did that.
Yep. Yeah. So we did that.
That was like the first trip out of the pandemic. Is that right?
Uh,
the first.
Yeah. Kind of the first adventure post pandemic.
Gotcha. And did you just take off work as like for then, or did you quit then as well?
I was kind of going through a lot of things that I wanted to do during the summer.
Yeah.
And it's like to do this, visit my friend that I made in India, go see her for a few days, go see my brother and his family.
Yeah.
That's about all the vacation I have for the year.
Yeah.
And so got to start saving up and put some in the bank for next year around this time. So it's pretty much a year of where I would have enough vacation, like if I need to go to the doctor's office or a dentist's office or something like that. In October of 2021, there's a mountain guide that I use, or that I've gone through before, Ryan Waters with Mountain Professionals, and I asked him if he was ever doing like a trip to Nepal, and so he was going to do one in October of 2021, but it would be for 3 weeks to go and do a mountain climb.
Mm-hmm.
I could not get that block of time, that chunk of time, along with any kind of COVID padding on there for either entry or departure, all that stuff. But no, you're not getting a month off, like a 4 week chunk.
Yeah.
And so I felt like I was missing out on a great opportunity. There's nothing I could do about it.
Yeah. So that kind of
set
in motion.
Yeah, it started. It's like, oh, man, if I'm ever going to do this thing, it's not getting any easier as I get older. Either I wait for a whole year and bank all my vacation time for a chance of my boss saying, yes, our schedule is okay enough for you to do it. And if he says no, or else there's something else has happened, or else the trip isn't offered again.
Yeah.
It's like I'm in October, I've got a month of vacation time banked, and when I could have been doing stuff during the summer and doing other stuff. So it was a whole bunch of kind of planning and stuff like that started happening at that moment. So yeah.
Sweet, yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's led us to now. How much longer off do you have until you have to go back to some sort of work or some sort of non-travel?
Maybe next summer I'll start looking for a job, see how it goes.
Okay, sweet. So you've got a good amount of time still left.
Yep. So
you just don't want to be up in those cold areas when the winter comes. Is the
correct? Yes.
Pending.
So my
on the trail.
So my ending of the trail happens when it gets cold. So around the beginning of October is when it's going to end, no matter how far I am.
Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah.
There's no point in suffering for suffering's sake without any.
It's not fun anymore. You're just doing it just to grind out miles, and that's not something I want to do. So
yeah. Plus, I feel like those areas upper north are so beautiful in the summer that it'd be. I'm sure they're beautiful in the winter too, but I feel like that's when I'd want to go. It'd be a shame to be up there not during like the peak.
Especially like the South Dakota, that I don't think anybody really does the South Dakota map.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess you go through the Badlands, you go through reservations, you go through all kinds of stuff. It's like 500 or 600 miles, and I didn't think the state was that long.
Good Lord, yeah.
Yeah, you go through a lot of stuff up there. So yeah.
When it gets cold, what's on the if you don't have work until summer, what's on the docket?
January I signed up for a Castaway survival experience.
Oh whoa.
So I signed up.
Here, let me reset the camera because I don't want to Have to stop in the middle of this Castaway experience here. Alrighty, so we were just saying
So
about...
the Castaway survival experience
Yeah.
is something I was thinking about doing back in the Peru time, and you got like a week and a half to be at like a tropical location, so Tonga, Panama, or the Philippines.
Wow.
And you are trained on how to survive in a Castaway experience over the course of 5 days. So you learn how to make fire, you learn how to make shelter, you learn how to fish, you learn how to gather, and other stuff throughout that time over the 5 days. And then the last 3 days, they will take the group and drop you off at an island and say, "We'll come back in 3 days."
That's awesome.
So it give you a chance to practice everything that you learned. So
Yeah,
it should be a
that's
lot of
amazing.
fun.
Man, you're gonna be like the guy that everybody wants on their team and all these things after this.
It's like,
You're like, oh, I know how to do everything. Don't worry about it.
That's fine.
That's awesome.
So yeah, and then maybe next summer if I still have some cash, maybe I was thinking about doing like around the world in 80 days type of thing.
Oh wow.
Where I saw that the BBC did something similar to that back in the 80s, where trying to get around the world in 80 days without using flight.
Without using flight.
Yeah.
So what's like if you were to do it, what would your
So it would be
attack plan be?
So it's like they started like a specific spot in London. It's like where the novel started, and then take a train, probably taxis to ferries, and just try to get down to shipyards and hustle.
Would you plan it out ahead of time, or would you try to just like wing it?
I would have like a general game plan, pretty much patterned after the TV series. Take some rails through Europe, and try and get like a freighter, like on board like a ship, like some kind of a freight ship, something like that in Egypt or something like that. Then they'll take you over to India and then get like a tuk-tuk or something like that, and then have a tuk-tuk drive you like across the country. And
wow, that's crazy.
yeah, we'll just see. It was an idea that I had, which I think would
see how it goes.
Pretty rad. Yeah, it's just the getting from Japan back to the United States.
That's probably quite a voyage.
That might be a bit much, but yeah, we'll just see.
Sweet. Well,
spitballing. So.
Well, thank you so much for coming on and talking and telling your story. And
you're welcome.
I'm excited to hear. I'm sure we'll catch up more.
Absolutely.
And I'm excited to hear in the future everything that you experience on this Trans-American Trail. So.
Absolutely, yeah. It's been rad so far. Very highly recommended.
Right.
Yeah, you don't want to wait to get older to do it.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks. Thank you, Austin.